for that. People don't value that kind of work. So like when I was posting my embroideries, as part of the reason I was probably so anxious was because I expected people to say stuff like, you know, that it's rubbish and stuff, because that's kind of how it's treated outside of, you know, arts and crafts communities when it comes to work. So, but that wasn't the case. Everyone was really, really nice, and I've only had really, really lovely feedback. And it's given me like a really nice confidence boost. That's been nice. And I am excited one day to hopefully be able to get back into employment and do bridal embroideries and stuff like that. But I'm also aware that it is not going to be a well-paid job, and I know that. I hear people ask for years of experience but don't respect the level of skill by paying. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I've looked it up and I fit. I'm a very good fit for bridal alterations, because you need to be good at beading, sequining, like fiddly detail work, which is 99% of what I do, and I have a huge portfolio to back me up as well to show that I do it, and I've done it for years. So I'm a lot of the time as well, in a couple of the application things, they actually ask if you have any experience in costuming, because they want more people in bridal alterations that have experience with costumes, which again, I'm really there for. In terms of experience, I am pretty confident that I could get the job, right? Because I am overqualified, if anything, a lot of the time. But I'm also, you know, yeah, you wouldn't expect people that do beading and sequining and stuff like that on dresses to be getting minimum wage, but that's how it is. You know, very, very specialist, high-level skills that will only ever be paid the same. Like, I would earn more working at McDonald's, and I'm not even joking, than I would working in an industry that I've trained for like most of my life. And again, that's my choice. A lot of people will be like, well, that was a decision you make, and they're not wrong. That is a decision that I made. That was my choice. I knew what I wanted to do, and these are the skills that I've got better at, so I have nobody to blame but myself and society. But yeah, I think, because a lot of people in my life as well have been like, oh, you should be getting into this. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? It's like, because I'm not going to be paid. Like, what's the point if you don't get paid for it, barely? It's a very, I think a lot of people have the idea that you'd get paid a lot for stuff like this. And if you're someone who is a freelance artist, you might be able to earn some money off it, but the likelihood is if you're working for a company, minimum wage. And so the only way that I probably would earn more from these kind of skills is to do it as an independent artist. And I think most people can kind of guess how difficult that is. That's people that like go and put their work in galleries or have it picked up by like cards and gifts and stuff like that. And you have to get real lucky to be one of those people. I mean, I'm not saying that I would never aim for that, but that would be like something you'd kind of aim for on the side, I think, rather than as like a main fight for it, because it's kind of got to get lucky. You need someone who likes your art style, which is always pretty hit and miss. That being said, I like my art style, and I think that's the most important bit. I like the art that I create most of the time, not all of the time. I can't say that 100%. I don't like every single piece that I've made. But I have made a lot of pieces that I do like, and that's important. Nurses are barely paid among minimum wage with the amount of emotional, mental, crazy hours. Well, yeah, like a lot of my family, maybe even most of them, work in the medical sector as doctors, nurses, things like that, or they're in training, right? And there is so little support for people in those. Like, you really have to be someone who just wants to help people and understand the risk that comes along with it. It sucks. Like, what is it? If you work in A&E, especially as an ambulance driver or part of the ambulance crew, so like the paramedics, they have a higher PTSD rate than people going to war because they see the worst accidents. They see thousands of deaths every single week. And yeah, they are not paid fantastic. We'll put it like that. They're definitely not paid enough for the stuff that they do. Your family actually does. First thing, they all bake. They do bake. My whole family cooks. But they're not bakers. No. NHS is their jobs. But hobbies, yeah. Oh, my grandparents bake, but they don't bake as I don't know what I would say that they bake as a hobby, maybe. No, my whole family does baking. Cooking as well. They're both really into it. Like, I've been cooking since I was really young because of them, but that's a hobby, not a job. I guess. Oh dear. I am definitely the weakest baker though in my family. I've weak baking skills. I can bake, but not like them. Not like them. couple of them are really good at like decoration as well. That's all just over my head. But no, NHS. NHS is their jobs. Although I don't want to go too into detail. They are in a few different sections of the NHS. Some of them have been frontline. Some of them have been what do you call it? I have family who have worked in A&E and stuff like that. And some of them are more behind the scenes NHS. But yeah, it's all NHS at the end of the day. Should have been not a doctor, you didn't. I know, right? I'm like the one who didn't go into anything like that, and I was never going to either. Dear. I'm not terrible at baking though. I'm not as good at it as everyone else. I just prefer cooking, and so like I feel like I've put all of my points into cooking rather than baking. So when it comes to like, oh, quickly I need to bake something, I'm always like, ugh. I put my points in cooking, not baking. I can make a mean lasagna, but you want cake? I don't know about that. How about lasagna? Oh dear. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you. The only cake I make is lasagna. Oh dear. But yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't really enjoy baking that much. You have lots of time and you're worse at baking? Yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. Cake, savory layer cake. Yeah, see, I'm more into that savory stuff. I just don't know. I can make bread.